Hello class, today we will be covering fractions, percents, and decimals. This is an important topic to cover because it will be covered in your competencies, and as 8th graders, you must be able to move between fractions, percents, and decimals very easily as it is necessary for your math skills in 9th grade and beyond. So, in the do now, can you think of some times when you need to convert from fractions into a percent, or maybe from decimals into a percent? Can you think of a time where that would be useful? I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to think about that, and we will get back to the problem. Yeah, so as many of you know, whenever you get a quiz or test or homework back, you usually get it in the form of a fraction. For example, it will say like 9 out of 10 or 53 out of 80. Now, when you get this, it's important that you know how to convert that fraction into a percentage so that you can know how you performed in a quiz, homework, or test. Today, we're going to be learning how to do that. So moving on in the future, you guys will be able to calculate your own test scores. So first, we will begin by learning how to convert fractions into a decimal. So converting a fraction into a decimal is very easy. All you need to do is divide. For example, if we have a fraction such as 1 over 4 or a quarter, we just perform the division 1 divided by 4. Now we all know that 1 divided by 4 is equal to 0.25. Congratulations, you have successfully converted from a fraction to a decimal. This example is a terminating decimal because the numbers stop. What I might mean by this is 0.25, the decimal ends after the number 5. It does not keep going on forever. We will go over non-terminating decimals in the next slide. Now, a decimal is called a decimal because it includes a decimal point. If we look at this figure, we have the number 45.6. As we can see, the point is referred to as a decimal point. So 45.6 is a decimal. Okay, let's see if you can convert the following fractions into decimals. So we have 1 over 8, 3 over 2, and 2 over 3. I want you to convert the 3 following fractions into decimals. I will give you some time. So we have the decimal 0.72, and if we want to write this as a fraction, we can write the fraction as 0.72 over 1. Then we can multiply the top and the bottom by 100, so we get the fraction 72 over 100. Now, we do not always multiply by 100. The reason we multiply by 100 this time is so that we can make 0.72 into a whole number. If we multiply 0.72 by 100, we get the whole number 72. Which is the key to making a fraction, a decimal into a fraction. We will then simplify 72 over 100 into 18 over 25, which will give us 0.72 when we do the division. So this method only works for terminating decimals. So if we want to do a non-terminating decimal, there is another trick. So for converting non-terminating decimals, we have to do a different kind of method. So if you have a decimal with the same repeating number, what you will do is put that repeating number in the numerator and make the denominator 9. So, for example, if we have the decimal 0.777 repeating, we have 7, which is the repeating number, so we put it as the numerator, and we put 9 as the denominator. So we will get the fraction 7 over 9. When you do 7 over 9, you will see that the decimal will be 0.77 repeating. This trick can only be used if the number that is repeating is the same. So this would not work, for example, for a decimal like 0.636363. It only works when the repeating number, the non-terminating decimals, are all the same. For example, 0.66666 or 0.3333333. Alright, so I want you to convert the following decimals into fractions. I'm going to give you some time to try and do the problems on your own. Okay, so for the first problem, what we can do is we have 0.125. So we want to change this into a fraction. So first we write 0.125 over 1. Now remember, we want to make this into a whole number. So to make this into a whole number, we must move this decimal place over until the end here. So we would have to move it over 1, 2, 3, which means we will have to multiply the numerator by 1000 and the denominator by 1000. So we would get the fraction 125 over 1000, which when simplified would be 1 over 8. Okay, so for the second problem, we have 1.3. So we want to change this into a decimal. We have 1.3 over 1. If we want to change this into a whole number, we're going to have to move this decimal place over 1. So we can rewrite this as 13 over 10. Now 13 over 10 would be the fraction. Here we have 2.33333 repeating as a decimal. So here what we can do is first we want to get rid of the 2. So remember, we know that when we have a recurring or repeating decimal, for example 0.3333, we get the numerator as the number that's repeating. So it would be 3 over the denominator of 9, right? So in this case that we have 2.33333, so we know that 2 is equal to 18 over 9. So what we can do is add these two decimals. We could do 18 over 9 plus 3 over 9, which would equal 21 over 9. So for this one, since it is a non-terminating decimal, we want to use our second rule for changing a decimal into a fraction. Alright, now here are some problems where you will want to convert the fractions or decimals into percentages. So here are the problems. I'll give you some time to work on it, and then we'll get back together and go over the answers. Okay, so for the first problem, we have 0.34. So what we can do is very simple. We just have to convert the decimal into a percentage. So what we do is we multiply 0.34 by 100 to give us a whole number, which would be 34, and then add a percent sign at the end. So 0.34 is equal to 34%. Okay. For question number 2, it's a little more challenging since it is not in decimal form, so we must change it into decimal form. So first what we will do is we will do 3 divided by 4, which equals 0.75, and then we will multiply it by 100 to get our percent, which would be 75%. Okay, for our third problem, it's very simple. It's the same as the first problem, where all we have to do is multiply by 100. So we have 0.94 times 100 equals 94%. For the fourth problem, it's a little different, as we have fraction, but the fraction is greater than 1. So 12 over 3, we would do 12 divided by 3, which would give us 4. And then what we do is we still multiply it by 100, which would give us 400%. Okay, so I hope that you guys got these answers correct. If not, please feel free to ask questions in Google Classroom so that we can go over it more in depth in the class. All right, so I hope you learned how to convert fractions into decimals and decimals into percentages and to go back and forth between the three forms. Like I said, this is key to moving forward into the higher grades, as you will need to do this all the time in order to do math problems, chemistry problems, physics problems. So this is a key competency that you need to make sure that you have nailed down. Please come and do the homework on Google Classrooms, and also feel free to ask questions and read the supplemental material that is provided for you. Thank you.